Hi, a very good morning. I am Lakshminarayana Gunta, PGT in Zoology at APMS and Junior College, Karavanja, and also working as NEET Super 60 faculty at Duppulvalsa, Srikakulam. Today, we are going to discuss the human respiratory system part 3. Under part 2, we have completed the mechanism of breathing, and today we are going to discuss the diffusion of gases and also the transportation of oxygen. Let us recap the events in respiration. First one is breathing or the pulmonary ventilation, diffusion of gases at the alveolar membrane, transportation of the gases between lungs and tissues, diffusion of gases at the tissues, and finally the cellular respiration. As we already have finished the breathing or pulmonary ventilation, let us now move to diffusion of gases across alveolar membrane. Alveoli are the primary sites of exchange of gases, and these alveoli, they are the sites of gases exchange in lungs. The air has to cross three layers which forms a diffusion membrane. The first one is the squamous epithelium of the alveolar wall. This one is the alveolus. This one is the blood capillary. And the wall of the alveolus, which is made up of a specialized epithelium called as squamous epithelium, which is single layered. The air has to pass this squamous epithelium, and it also has to cross the basement layer. This one is the basement layer. It also has to cross the endothelium of the alveolar capillary. And these three, that is the squamous epithelium, the endothelium, and the basement membrane, they form the diffusion membrane. The air has to cross all these three layers in order to reach into the blood. The exchange of gases occurs by simple diffusion. What do you mean by diffusion? Movement of particles from high concentration level to low concentration level until an equilibrium is obtained. You can observe in this picture the carbon dioxide from the capillaries, it enters into the alveolus, and the oxygen from the alveolus, it enters into the capillaries. That's why which converts the deoxygenated blood into the oxygenated blood. Okay, and the exchange of gases, it depends upon the partial pressure of oxygen, partial pressure of carbon dioxide, which is called as PO2 and PCO2. Solubility of gases, thickness of the respiratory membrane, and the surface area. The greater the surface area, the greater the exchange of gases. And finally, the distance of diffusion. Let us understand what is partial pressure. Partial pressure is the pressure exerted by an individual gas in a mixture of gases. Our air is a mixture of gases. It has a number of gases like oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, etc. etc. Every gas, it exerts some pressure. Suppose it is the case with oxygen. The pressure exerted by oxygen is called as PO2, partial pressure of oxygen, and the pressure exerted by carbon dioxide is called as partial pressure of carbon dioxide. Let us observe the partial pressure of oxygen and carbon dioxide at different areas. Take for an example, oxygen, the partial pressure is 159 mmHg in the atmospheric air. Partial pressure, it is measured in mmHg, millimeter mercury, and it is 104 mmHg at the alveoli, whereas it is 40 mmHg in the deoxygenated blood, and in the oxygenated blood it is 95 mmHg, whereas at tissues it is 40 mmHg. Coming to the carbon dioxide, the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in atmospheric air is 0.3 mmHg, whereas in the alveoli the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is 40 mmHg, and it is 45 mmHg in the deoxygenated blood, and in the oxygenated blood PCO2, that is the partial pressure of carbon dioxide, is 40 mmHg, and it is 45 mmHg in the tissues. And the CO2 is more soluble in water when compared with oxygen. It is 20 to 25 times higher soluble than oxygen. and the blood is the medium for transportation of these gases. And let us study the transportation of these gases under two headings, that is the transportation of oxygen and the transportation of carbon dioxide. Let us now discuss the transportation of oxygen. And this oxygen, it is transported from lungs to the tissues through plasma and RBC of blood. From lungs to tissues, it is transported through the RBC or plasma. 100 ml of our oxygenated blood can deliver 5 ml of oxygen to the tissues. 100 ml of blood can deliver 5 ml of oxygen to tissues. The air we inhale consists of 21% of oxygen, whereas the air that we exhale, it consists of 16% of oxygen. Means only 5% of oxygen is delivered to the tissue. Remaining oxygen, again it is sent back to the atmosphere. About 3% of oxygen is transported in dissolved state through the plasma, the straw colored matrix of the blood, whereas remaining 97% of oxygen is transported by the RBC, the red blood cells. I have already told you that the solubility of carbon dioxide is 20 to 25 times more than this oxygen. Okay, that's why only 3% of oxygen is transported in dissolved state through plasma. Okay, and 97% of oxygen is transported by the RBCs, and these RBCs, they are red in color because of the presence of hemoglobin. Each hemoglobin is formed by 4 heme groups and 4 globin chains. These are 4 heme groups, and this hemoglobin, it also consists of 4 globin chains, and out of these 4 globin chains, 2 are alpha chains and 2 are beta chains. Okay, and we have already discussed that the transportation of oxygen, it depends upon the partial pressure of oxygen and also the partial pressure of carbon dioxide. At lungs, the partial pressure of oxygen, that is the PO2, is high, and that's why oxygen binds with hemoglobin. In the lungs, the partial pressure of oxygen is 104 mmHg, and this makes the oxygen to bind with hemoglobin. Hb plus O2 gives rise to HbO2 and whereas at tissues the case is different. The partial pressure of oxygen at tissues is very low, it is 40 mmHg. At this low PO2, that is 40 mmHg, the hemoglobin, oxyhemoglobin, it unloads oxygen at the tissues, and the equation will be like this: HbO2 4, it gives rise to Hb plus O2, and this O2 is utilized by the tissues, and this way the PO2 plays an important role in the transportation of oxygen. In addition to this, other factors are also there for transportation of oxygen. They are partial pressure of carbon dioxide, low PCO2, it facilitates the formation of oxyhemoglobin, and low hydrogen ion concentration, that is high pH, low hydrogen ion concentration or high pH, it facilitates the formation of oxyhemoglobin, and low temperature also it facilitates the formation of oxyhemoglobin. And the hemoglobin, when it is oxygenated, it is bright red in color, whereas the deoxygenated hemoglobin is purplish bluish red in color. And in this way, this hemoglobin is sometimes associated with oxygen and sometimes it is dissociated with oxygen. And this way we can plot a graph showing the dissociation of oxygen with hemoglobin, taking partial pressure of oxygen on x-axis and percentage of saturation on y-axis. And the graph obtained is a sigmoid curve. Initially, whenever the partial pressure of oxygen is increased, the percentage of saturation also is increased. and it happens up to some extent only, and from there it is a sigmoid curve. And let us recap the favorable conditions for the formation of oxyhemoglobin. The high partial pressure, low PCO2, high pH, low temperature, they are the favorable conditions for the formation of oxyhemoglobin. And when these conditions they prevail, the oxyhemoglobin curve it shifts towards the y-axis, that is towards left side. Okay, and in contrast to these conditions, low PO2, high PCO2 and low pH and high temperature, when they exist, the curve it shifts towards right side, and shifting of this curve towards right side due to increased PCO2 and H plus ions concentration is called as Bohr effect. Shifting of curve towards right side due to increased PCO2 and H plus ion concentration is called as Bohr effect. And this hemoglobin, it is 97% saturated at lungs where PO2 is 100 mmHg. When the PO2 partial pressure of oxygen is 100 mmHg, then the percentage of saturation is 97%. And similarly, when the PO2 is 40 mmHg, then the percentage of saturation is 75%. Means during normal conditions, 22% of oxygen is delivered. But during strenuous exercises or in active contracting muscles, the PO2 drops even below 40 mmHg. Then the percentage of exchange it may rise up to 62%. Hence, large amount of oxygen is unloaded from the hemoglobin. It may extend up to 62%. And this finishes our today's session. Let me ask you a few questions. The first one is partial pressure of oxygen in systemic vein, the veins that come from the tissues to the heart. 104 mmHg, 95 mmHg, 159 mmHg, 40 mmHg. What is your option? Right? 40 mmHg is the right option. And coming to the second question, diffusion membrane in lungs is made up of a single layer, 2 layers, 3 layers and 4 layers. What is your option? Yes, the diffusion membrane in lungs is made up of 3 layers. Okay, thank you for watching, and for more videos just click Lakshmi Narayana Gunta in YouTube and follow me, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.